And I think their timing was like incredible. I mean, they really were fueled by Instagram, and so when they launched, Instagram was still really young. There was, very few brands creating like catchy, engaging content, and Instagram was really a huge catalyst to Blender's growth. And for those that are wondering how the name Blenders came to be, it was actually because Chase lived on a street in Pacific Beach in San Diego named Hornblende Street, and he would always call it, come to blend. And then they just, said, hey, let's name our brand Blenders. So I think it's kind of a unique way to derive and discover a name, because so many people kind of get caught up in how do I name my brand, which I think is a really unique aspect to the story. But yeah, I mean, I think their timing in terms of riding that early wave of Instagram was huge for them. And they didn't like pop off right off the bat, right? Like 2012, they do $8,000 in revenue. 2013, they do $100,000. And 2015, they break the $1 million mark. And so, most of that is fueled by social media. And they didn't really expand to retail until much later on, like pretty much post acquisition, when they started opening up some of their own stores. But I think it's just like so interesting to see how Blenders really had a grassroots approach in terms of engaging its community and growing through social media. And I wonder too, like, is there opportunities to do that today on TikTok Shop?
Absolutely. I think you have to be on TikTok Shop today. It seems to be the next forum that people are looking at. But I would step back and look at it in a little bit more of a macro sense. Blenders was started in 2011, 2012. They didn't really start to play with Instagram until 2013. Again, Instagram was founded, I think, 2010. They've been acquired by Facebook in 2012, 2013 timeframe. So this is still very, very early days. And the part that was interesting to me was it wasn't like, looking back in retrospect, it's like, of course, if you build a following on Instagram, that's going to translate well into what's there. But at the time, that wasn't well known. That wasn't a foregone conclusion. People didn't have the perspective that I need to build a following on Instagram. And there weren't any sunglass companies doing this. There really weren't ads on Instagram. It was something where Chase chose a vertical. He chose a social media platform, and he doubled down on it. And he started to amass, I think, a couple 100,000 followers for Blenders. People were sharing, people were showing what they were doing. And so it's really interesting where you think about today. I think if you were to look in 2024, people would kind of come to the conclusion that, yeah, TikTok is probably a place you need to be. That's going to be one of the winners for where an audience is. But it's almost as if he made this decision in 2019, 2020 to be on TikTok comparative to Instagram. And so I've been thinking a lot this weekend about, what's the next thing that's out there, and what, where should people be putting their efforts in? It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, like, they had an organic approach, and they really kind of used out of the box thinking to drive growth of their email list and, SMS list. Like, I know they used to give away trips to Hawaii, which was super cool. So they, say on their email pop-up, enter to win a Blenders, trip, all-in paid trip to Hawaii. And I think that's cool because most people on their pop-up, they're just offering like, some discount or whatever it may be. And so I think that's a really cool approach that they took to further engage their community rather than just, discounting their product with their pop-up, which is, I think an amazing way to engage a community and grow a brand.
Yeah, at first glance, it seems like it's ridiculous, but if you could spend $5,000 or $6,000 and gain, 10,000 email signatures, you would take that CAC all day, every day.
Totally. And I think that's like, one of the kind of genius sides of Chase and his team in terms of taking a different approach to, grow their community and grow their lists. And I think even to this day, it's, come to light with their influencer and creator marketing strategy and partnerships. I mean, it really is just pretty incredible what they've done.
Yeah. And I think going back to your comments here on their social media presence and strategy, one of the things that really stuck out to me was that they made a really big effort early on to engage with their customers. And so he was regularly messaging people. He was regularly interacting with them. And it was less of a, hey, here's my product. We've got a new style that just dropped. Here's a discount code. It was really that piece of trying to connect with people. And then, similar to that with how he started, he was walking up and down the beach and he was selling things. He was trying to push things back and forth that way. And so there was a lot of just really good customer feedback that he was getting from a day-to-day perspective, whether it be walking the beach and figuring out what styles were performing better than others, or interacting with folks on Instagram and saying, hey, which ones do you like more? Show me, where you were with these sorts of things. And so I just think that there's a principle here around building your audience, yes, but also engaging with your audience in more of an authentic way.
Yeah, totally. I think that's like one of the key parts of how they've grown their brand. And I mean, the revenue growth between like call it 2015 and when they were acquired in 2019 is tremendous. I mean, I think that was fueled by a multitude of aspects, like their influencer marketing partnerships, their giveaways, everything they did across social to grow their brand. But I think too they've really had like a community driven approach.